Come with me to 1 Samuel chapter 10. 1 Samuel chapter 10, beginning at verse 21. And Saul, the son of Kish, was taken by Lot, but when they sought him, he could not be found. So they inquired again of the Lord, did the man come here? And the Lord said, see, he has hidden himself among the baggage. For the next few moments that I have you, allow me to share with you the terror of being chosen. I hate being interrupted. I do. Like, I know that may not seem deep, but it's true. Like, I can be in the middle of a thought, in the middle of a sentence, in the middle of a plan, in the middle of a rhythm, and if somebody interrupts me, because interruption is not just about someone breaking into your schedule. Interruption does something to the body. It startles you, disorients you, makes you lose your place. It pulls you out of what you have finally found a way to manage. Now, it is one thing if the interruption is a phone call, an email, or somebody walking into the room when you just got settled, but what do you do when the interruption is gone? What do you do when God's interruption comes dressed as grace? And when I say grace, I mean the sovereignty of God to do for us what we could not do for ourselves. But this kind of grace does not always knock gently. Sometimes it breaks in. It does not always feel soft, safe, or sweet. Sometimes it feels invasive. Sometimes grace puts a future on your shoulders before your heart has had time to consent. The truth is, we like grace when it forgives, when it favors us, but nobody told us that grace could be terrifying. Nobody told us that grace could interrupt the life we knew how to live. Nobody told us that grace could make you grieve what you understood and reach for what God revealed. And that is the terror of being chosen. It is not always the fear that God missed you. The deeper terror is that God meant you. God meant your name, your life, your voice, your body, your yes, your assignment. And the question is not whether you believe God chose you. The question is, can you endure the sovereignty of being chosen before your soul has consented to be saved? And that grace can feel violent. Not because God is cruel, but because truth can feel violent when it interrupts denial. Calling can feel violent when it interrupts comfort. Howard Thurman taught us those who have learned to survive by staying small develop an entire interior architecture around their smallness. It becomes the house they live in. So when grace calls you forward, it is not just interrupting a moment, it is dismantling a dwelling. Disability can feel violent when you have built a whole life around being useful but unseen. That is where Saul stands in this text. He has been chosen, but he is not settled. He has been interrupted by grace, but grace feels too much like invasion. But the terror and the mercy is this: grace knows where to find you. So the question this text presses into our hands tonight is this: what do you do when grace interrupts the life you chose with the life God chose for you? Well, first, you have to face what your absence reveals. In verse 20 it says, but when they sought him, he could not be found. And before we judge Saul too quickly, we need to sit with his humanity. The text does not give us his emotional state, but what it does give us is his absence. When his name is called, he is not where the moment requires him to be, and sometimes absence speaks louder than words. That is the kind of quiet resistance, not rebellion with a raised fist, but disappearance. And I think we ought to sit there for a moment, because disappearance still tells us something. Sometimes our bodies leave before our mouths can explain why. Sometimes we do not have the words for what an interruption has cost us, so our absence starts speaking for us, because some of us do not run from from God by becoming scandalous. Some of us run from God by simply becoming unavailable. Katie, Geneva Cannon called it invisible dignity, the quiet interior resistance of people who have learned that being fully seen carries a cost. It is not rebellion, it is self-protection dressed as absence. And the tragedy is that what begins as survival can calcify into a permanent address. Not because we do not believe God called us, but because we're terrified that He actually did. And that kind of terror will make you hide in plain sight, present but not available, gifted but guarded, anointed but absent, called but concealed, because there is a difference between being useful and the life you understand and being chosen for a life that unsettles you. And if we're honest, some of us know what it is to be interrupted mid-life, mid-rhythm, mid-responsibility, and then here comes grace. Not later, not after we feel ready, not after we're resolved. Grace comes when we're still in motion. And the danger is that if we never face our absence, we will disguise withdrawal as wisdom. We will call it discernment when it is really detachment, because the assignment does not vanish just because we disappear. And grace may interrupt you before you are ready, but your unreadiness does not undo what God said. So face it. The absence is revealing something. The silence is revealing something. The hiding is revealing something. But if grace called my name, hiding cannot be my final answer. And that leads us to the second movement of the text. Don't let what carried you conceal you. The people look for Saul, but they cannot find him. So they inquire of the Lord again, and the Lord answers, behold, he has hidden himself among the baggage. The thing is, the place where Saul hides is not regular. The baggage was not useless. The word keli means supplies, instruments, equipment, tools, the things necessary for the journey. Which means Saul is not hiding in what is evil. Saul is hiding in what is useful. He's hiding in what helped him get there. And that is a dangerous kind of hiding, because it is easy to condemn hiding when someone is hiding in sin. But what do you do when you are hiding in what's responsible? Hiding in preparation, hiding in study, hiding in service, hiding in ministry, hiding in productivity, hiding on the praise team when you know the Lord called you to preach. Hiding in being the one everybody can depend on while refusing to be the one God is calling forward. Because some of us are not hiding from the assignment by doing nothing. Some of us are hiding from the assignment by doing everything except what God called us to do. We keep organizing the tools. We keep creating the systems. We keep making ourselves useful around the assignment, but never standing fully in it. And the grief is that the same thing that helped you survive one season can become the place where you hide from the next. The baggage is not bad. The preparation is not bad. The service is not bad. But you cannot make a home in your hiding place. And what God chose in Saul cannot be stored among cargo. You cannot hide what belongs to God in a place that belongs to the journey. At some point, the things that brought you here have to release you. The preparation has to stop being your hiding place and become evidence that God has already been making you ready. That is what makes Saul's hiding place so convicting. He is not hiding from the baggage. He's hiding in evidence. The baggage proves there has been a journey. The supplies prove there has been movement. The instruments prove there is something needed for what comes next. And still, he's hidden among them. The gift is evidence. The oil is evidence. The burden is evidence. The fact that keeps finding you is evidence. Evidence that you were called. Evidence that you were graced. Evidence that you were anointed. Evidence that you were entrusted. And if God has given you evidence, you cannot keep pretending that the call is unclear. You can't keep calling it humility when it is fear. You cannot keep calling it waiting when it is hiding. When hiding is the safe place. We think it is. It just has a cost. The baggage had a purpose, but the baggage was not there, was not where Saul was meant to stay. And I came to tell somebody, what helps you to get here cannot be where you disappear. So come on out of the baggage. Come out of the familiar. Come out of the version of yourself that was easy for people to manage, because the assignment is not looking for your hiding place. The assignment is looking for you. And finally, you have to let exposure become emergence. In the text, grace does not just locate Saul. Grace interrupts the hiding place itself. What Saul used for concealment, God turns into the site of his emergence. And the Lord said, see, he has hidden himself. Now, I don't need us to feel the discomfort of this, because God exposes the hiding place. God does not preserve Saul's concealment. God does not protect his absence. God does not allow the people to move forward without the one he has chosen. And yes, where would I be if not for God's grace? But sometimes grace doesn't feel gracious when it's pulling me out of where I wanted to be. And yes, grace covers, grace restores, but sometimes grace also confronts, sometimes it locates, sometimes grace tells the truth before we are ready to live it. And grace does not always feel gracious. And maybe the mercy is this: what feels cruel may actually be grace refusing to let you live beneath what God chose for you. Because grace does not expose you to destroy you. Grace exposes what is destroying your yes. God does not expose Saul to humiliate him. God exposes Saul to align him, because you cannot transcend while still negotiating with your hiding place. And sometimes grace has to violate the hiding place in order to preserve the called one. Not violate the person, violate the place, the comfort, the agreement you made with disappearing. We don't realize emergence requires something of us. It requires the death of the hidden self. But grace will not let hiding have the final word over what God has chosen. So let what found you also form you. Let what uncovered you usher you forward. And I would rather my life be invaded by grace than safely buried in what I have outgrown. So let exposure become emergence, because grace is not exposing you to end you. Grace is exposing you because there is more life on the other side of hiding. And this is the good news of the text. Many of us in this room are like Saul. Coming to this moment, I had to deal with my own absence, my own resignation, my own hiding. But the good news is this: grace is still looking for you. Grace is still calling, and grace still knows your name. And I came to tell somebody who has been wrestling with the terror of being chosen, there is still grace for you. Grace for your fear, grace for your trembling, grace for your disappointment, grace for the plans you abandoned, grace for the life you wanted, grace for the what you lost, grace for the grief you could not name, grace for your hiding place, grace for your baggage. There is still grace. Grace is calling you. Grace is carrying you. Grace is covering you. Grace is keeping you. Grace is confronting you. Grace is exposing you. Grace is redeeming you. Grace is crowning you. And I know grace can feel terrible. It can feel invasive. It can feel violent. But even terrible grace. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. This grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me home. But grace that evicted you from your hiding place is the same grace that will establish you in your rightful place. And Peter said it like this: after you have suffered a while, the God of all grace will restore, will confirm, will strengthen, and establish you. And if you need evidence, look at your own life. Grace called you, grace found you, grace snatched you, grace kept you, grace exposed you, grace carried you, grace is still with you.
That's the word, ma'am.
So come out of hiding.